Hi there, and today I am going to be doing just various random bits and pieces. Not even made my mind up quite yet what I'm going to be doing. So bear with me while I just set a couple things up here, and then we'll be good. So what will we do? What will we do? What will we do? Let's do some rapid transit. But let's change the weather. Let's make it a bit more interesting. So rapid transit. Yeah, if I do that later, don't I? Duh. Let's make it a rainy day. Because why not? Services. Let's do... Let's go from Leipzig. From Leipzig, Konowitz. Slightly shorter, not quite the full length of the route. This one. And I will be using PZB, so expect me to get stopped randomly because I missed something or didn't understand something. I am still learning how to use it. Okay, so let's just check what side the platform's on, the right hand side. So first thing is open the doors. And we're going to switch on SIFA and the two PZB switches. Don't need the cab light on. Passenger light should be on. And the headlights. So the wiper should be going at pretty much full chat. Yeah. 4 or 5. I have a feeling I've forgotten to do something, but it can't have been that important. So I don't think we're actually going to be following another... this isn't one of the ones I thought it was. Sometimes when you leave Konowitz, you're following another train for a little bit of the early part of the run. Doesn't look like that's going to be happening, so we'll just make sure that the brakes are all off and we'll get going. So we're leaving the station under restrictive PZB monitoring, so have to stay below. Now what I did forget to do is to change this, which is helpful because PZB measures itself in kilometers. So the current restriction is 45 kilometers per hour. As long as that little blue 85 icon's flashing, it'll stay at 45. Which it's usually better to stay just a couple under it in case you need to react to anything. Okay, we're now clear from PZB monitoring. There's a speed limit change coming up ahead to 80 kilometers per hour. So it's an 85 limit on the PZB just now, which you can tell by, I'll show you when we pull up to the station here, what I'm looking at on the PZB screen. You actually don't need to be able to read it entirely to know what it says as well. Oh shit, slight overshoot, right, don't worry about that. Okay. So this is a zoomed in view of the center screen. The PZB display, if the number 85, if that blue 85 is flashing, your speed restriction is 45 kilometers per hour. If it's not flashing, it's 85 kilometers per hour. The 1000 hertz part of the display is talking about the type of restriction I'm under. Basically there's 1000 hertz, 500 hertz. 1000 is further away from the signal, 500 is much closer to the signal. Rule of thumb, if you see a signal with any yellow in it, get down to 85, be ready to start braking down to 65 if you need to, down to 45 rather, and as you get a bit closer to the signal, you'll pass into a 500 hertz area, which is basically slow right down and do it now. I'm still learning how to use PZB. However, if you go to the developer's website to download the instruction manual, the PlayStation 4 one doesn't actually explain anything about PZB. The Steam manual does. It's not the greatest set of instructions in the world, it has to be said. It doesn't cover everything, but it gives you enough to be going on with. Also highly recommend watching the developer streams on YouTube, especially the last one they did about the oh, I'm about to give myself a FIFA warrant. Yeah. So, too busy talking there, and I triggered PZB, so I have to let the train come to a halt. Release the PZB. I am cheating and using a keyboard to do this. Not cheating. But yeah, well worth watching the developer streams, especially any they've done about Leipzig or the new Ruhr route that's coming out. The last stream they did a couple of weeks ago, they actually talk about the signalling on the German lines a fair bit, and it's enough to just about make you able to cope with what you're seeing on this route as well, because it is the same signalling system in some places. Now why the fuck am I getting a... I have no idea why PZB keeps stopping the train at this point. I think it's because I'm too busy talking and not paying attention to alerts that are coming up on the screen in front of me. So even though the track limit is 80 kilometers per hour here, I've got the flashing PZB warning going off, so I need to stay under 45. And in fact, I'm going to lock the tempo mat at 40 just to be absolutely sure. I know we are running a little bit late, but okay, and stop. So we're running a little bit late, but hopefully we'll try and get some of that back a bit later. I think the hardest part about using PZB, to be honest with you, is you really have to concentrate, and you do kind of have to know what the signals are. There's various signposts and things next to the signals that tell you how it fits into PZB, but the hardest part is remembering the various bits of signage you'll see, and and just concentrating. You really have to be paying attention to what's coming up ahead if you want to use these systems. Quite rewarding when you get it right, though, has to be said. I have managed to do a few runs under PZB monitoring without making too much a mess of it. So let's just get ready to lock the doors immediately. Let's just get straight underway. So we're already way late for this one. Difficult to make up time on the... Oh, Christ, and I've done it again. Right, I'm going to shut up while PZB's still on because I'm not concentrating on what I'm doing. The other high-pitched tone that you're sometimes hearing, and you'll notice that when it goes off, you'll see the little, where's my cursor? You'll see the little alert sign on the heads-up display speedometer will come on yellow when it sounds. That's a thing called CIFA. It's basically a dead man switch. You get an alert comes up on the screen just here. You can see where I'm pointing. You've got 2.5 seconds to respond to that. If you don't respond to that, you hear a high-pitched beep, and you've got another 2.5 seconds to respond to that. Otherwise, it puts the brakes on. And the difference between CIFA and the Deadman switch system on UK trains and American trains is that CIFA will release control of the brakes back to you as soon as you release as soon as you acknowledge the alert. Unlike the other trains in the game where you have to bring the train to a complete halt and then sort of recycle the cab to get underway again. So I'm not actually under PZB monitoring anymore. And I've got a green signal ahead, so we'll try and make back a wee bit of that time. I don't know how much of it I'm going to get back though now, realistically. I screwed up too many times coming up this tunnel. That low-pitched tone is me pressing the... It's actually the PZB acknowledge button, but it also works when I see the CIFA alert coming on. It will clear that as well. There is a separate control to clear the CIFA alert that does not make the sound. You can press the pedal there. Again, I'm using the keyboard to do it. But it does have its own button, or you can press the PZB button for the same effect, and you'll see that the PZB button operates both those controls. So it's a main signal ahead of us, in other words, one that we have to obey, and you can tell by the sort of the white and red pole attached to the signal's mast, which you'll see as we go past. And it's all clear. So yellow signal ahead, so I'm going to be ready to be put into PZB monitoring. So the two signals up on the wall there, those are not main signals. Those were green while the other one wasn't. I think they're basically just telling me that the platform itself is clear. There's still some bits of the German signalling system I'm trying to work out. So a flashing signal ahead is usually a sign of some sort of hazard. I'm not entirely sure what it means in this instance. I dare say we'll find out when I get moving. looks a bit... The camera's stuck in the ceiling. Okay, very good. Fix the cameras when I get outside. Okay, so next up, lights ignored. Okay, so the speed limit's 80. I am not 100% certain what that flashing signal was trying to tell me, if I'm being completely honest. Just going to shove the tempomat on for this next bit. And you can turn the power handle back down so that you're ready for immediate braking. So we are coming into a 100 kilometre an hour zone. Normally I would probably just coast for the next little while. But I'm going to actually stick the boot in just a little bit more. Because we are running a little bit behind time. I'm going to take a chance and brake fairly aggressively here. But it is a wet track, so I probably braked a bit earlier than I had to in the end. Duh. With all the trains in this game do handle quite differently, so if you've been playing quite a lot with one particular train, then you jump into another. It takes a while sometimes just to get to grips with the game. So just get ready to close the train up again. So just picking up speed, clear the CIFA alarm. What I'll do is I'll just let it run up to 120 and then bang on the tempo map. Once we've passed, now that we've passed Leipzig Nord, then we shouldn't have any more issues with traffic on the line ahead of us, I don't think. Okay, so it's a bit longer than 2.5 seconds you've got to respond to the CIFA visual alert. Not by much, I wouldn't think. We climb car horn on this thing cracks me up. Oh dear. Right, so going into 160, I'm not going to be going much faster though. Random person just appearing out of thin air there. Ah, damn it. Yeah, it's one of the hardest trains to drive. Well, yep, there, we've just gone blasting past the station. It's that easy to drive. Jeez, oh. Oh, God. It's actually, once you get the hang of tempo, Matt, it's not that bad. What you do have to remember, though, is to brake early enough to stop. This is slightly embarrassing. This is the first time I've ever had to do this. Honestly. Still not far enough back. Which is annoying, because I think I was actually starting to claw back a little bit the time we lost earlier. Okay. Put everything back the right way. And now I'll probably get PZB monitored on my way out as well, because of that yellow. Try and get this back to normal. I think the hardest train in the game for me, probably I can't remember what it's called now. The American one, the City Sprinter. But that's got more to do with I keep getting caught by surprise by the ATC access system. But you do have to light ride. It's a lot of it's to do with the line as well. It's a lot of uphill, downhill, and you're constantly just tapping the brakes and bumping the throttle and what have you. Right, so no PZB, that's fine. In fact, that signal's not for us. Right, so 4 minutes to do 10 kilometres, not a chance. Get rid of Sifa there, and yeah, the bullet train would be awesome, man. I think somebody did one for like one of the really old train simulators on the PC way back, and I remember having a freeware one about 10-12 years ago as well. Okay, so I'm just going to pop the tempo mat in. There we go. I am cheating a wee bit and using a USB keyboard plugged into the console, so I'm able to use the keyboard commands, which are all still there from the PC version. They just, like many things, don't actually tell you about them. 2 minutes. I might get back some of this time actually. After getting my ass PZB'd about 4 times at the start. Don't think I actually had to acknowledge that one, but I found the secret to using PZB is always acknowledge a signal when you're in any doubt. Because it's a weird ass little system. It doesn't tell you when it needs to be acknowledged, you're just supposed to know. Nothing there either. But let's try not to go blasting through this one, eh? So off the power a wee bit sharper than before. "11th of September, mate. West Somerset Railway. It looks amazing, I can't wait. I'm just really happy that people are releasing games like this for console now, man. I think it's awesome. And there's another German route coming a bit later on after the West Somerset. Have a look for the developers' live streams, man, on YouTube. They show you loads before they release the things. Looks amazing. Oh shit. Ah, PZB'd myself. Bollocks. Just release it, wait for the brakes to cycle. I think I missed a signal I should have acknowledged. Man, every time I'm just about to get back the time that I lose, I get another PZB hitting me. But I am determined to crack this thing. Right, that's better. So about a minute late, which is not bad, because at one point I was about 3.5, 4 minutes late. But yeah, it's a 45. Give this game 9 out of 10. Brilliant. Yeah, mate, it is. I love it. I think it's really good. The first game like this I played was the original MS Train Sim. In fact, no, the first game like this I played was some crappy vector graphics thing on an Amstrad in 1984. And then nobody made one for another 15 years. So I've always kind of liked these games. And now that they're coming to console, it's just so good. If I had one criticism of it, it's that the console version, they leave too much out of the tutorials. They don't tell you enough in the manual. You can download the manuals from the game's website, and the console manuals and the PC manuals, you know, the console one's about half the thickness because they just leave loads out. I've definitely had my what did I pay for it? 45 quid, something like that. Definitely had my money's worth out of it though. Right, the next signal is green, so I'm just going to release No, I'm not, because we're under 1,000 magnet. Right, that's why we can't do it. So now that I'm clear of the magnet, the signal ahead's green. So I'm just going to release myself from PZB. Normally I wouldn't do that until I could actually see a signal, but because we're buggered for time. Yeah, this is normally where I should have cleared, released myself from PZB if I was still under it. Just going to acknowledge every signal from now on, till I remember where all the ones that I need to do are. Not actually that sure how far up the line I am. I'll have a wee look at the map the next time I'm stopped. In fact, let's just have... so we've still got a wee way to go yet. But I think it's quite quick doing this last section. Right, I'm really concentrating for any signals coming up to it would be good if they extended it. Yeah, it would be good to go all the way out to Bristol. But I think they've got quite a lot of plans for this game though. I think they are going to come back and put quite a lot in. Ah, for Christ's sake, I've gone past again. And they have, the developer have said that they would like to go back and look at extending things at some point. Fucking hell, that's quite some miss. I should point out at this stage, I am not a veteran YouTuber or broadcaster of any kind, so I'm not used to playing and talking at the same time, so there will be lots and lots of little cock-ups like this, probably. Not too worried about finesse, just and as quickly as possible. That signal should actually have not changed, I don't think. Yeah, braking is the hardest part of this game. The biggest challenge with a train is it is big and heavy and takes bloody ages to stop. This thing's actually pretty sharp at stopping. the problem is I've spent the last sort of 3 or 4 days mostly driving in miles and yards, and I'm completely underestimating my distances now that I'm in kilometres. It's almost impossible to drive with PZB if you don't switch the displays over. Okay, I'm just going to put it straight into full boot as well. Bitterfeld, I think there's only 2 or 3 stations after that. Quite a while to go as well. But, I'll need to be careful of that speed limit change because that might involve PZB as well. Certainly a lot more complicated than the good old AWS, that's for sure. Apparently it actually makes perfect sense and dead simple once you understand it, but that's the tricky bit, especially for me. Right, flashy signal, so just, yeah. Flashing signal, I think, usually indicates you're coming up to some sort of change. Ah, right, yes, I see what it is. It's warning me that the next one will be to do with the speed limit. Yeah, Eurotunnel. Yeah, I had a Eurotunnel one for the old train simulator as well, actually. It sounds really cool, but to be honest with you, 24 miles of just staring at a concrete tunnel, it's not as fun as you think. Right, shit, I need to get right down. I'm just going to continuously batter the PZB button in case I've tripped something. Oh, just made it. What was fun about the Eurotunnel pack though was that it was completely different signage and scenery and stuff on each end of the tunnel. There were some pretty cool things about it. You just spent too long in the tunnel, really. Not that there's much that the... Oh, fuck, PCB'd again. Like I said, the hardest part of PZB is concentrating really hard on what's coming up at the side of the track. Which I'm not really doing. Need to wait for the brakes to cycle through. There we go. Damn it, and I was only going to be about a minute late there as well after all that. Let's just chop that there, because it'll actually stop you at 45. It's not over 45, it's bang on that it kicks in and stops you again. Just release the PZB again. Right, this might be one I have to acknowledge. No, it's not. I suppose it really matters too much where we stop here. It's a pretty long platform. Top speed of this train, 160 kilometres per hour, mate. Maximum speed on the line's actually 200 at some places, but this train's not allowed to go above 160. Quite a lot of them have actually got, you can see here, the wee signpost. Quite a lot of the trains have got a wee signpost somewhere in them just to tell the driver what the maximum is. I think the train itself can go faster, but in Germany, if you only have PZB on board, then your speed limit's something like 160, 165. You need a different system, which this train doesn't have, to go faster. So it's about 100 mile an hour, give take. Right, yeah, Greppen's like the second or third last stop, I'm pretty sure. There's no PZB, so we can just get going. I think this is pretty much just start and stop stuff, this. Oh shit, where'd that speed limit come from? Right, the tempomat on. Oh, they've got loads planned, man. It's well worth keeping an eye open. They've announced 2 more routes so far, well, including West Somerset. But they have said there's lots more to follow, so fingers crossed we'll get some good stuff. Love to see some steam in the game as well. That's what is really missing so far. Giving up any pretense of getting to the end on time now, basically. Ah, there we go, there it is. Sometimes quite hard to see the platforms on this line from any distance at all. Oh, come on! Oh, this thing is horrible in the rain. I did overshoot a little bit. definitely wasn't taking as long to stop the last time I drove this. I'm pretty sure it's the rain on the line. Yeah, there's only a couple of more stops, I think. See how badly I missed it. Oh, that's all right. Only the first, only the lead two coaches on a 3-car consist. That's good. It's got to be possibly my worst run. Ah. So. Remembered the PZB this time. Hey! Yeah, it's pretty good, man. I think there is definitely quite a few places they could optimise it a bit better, but I'm sure that'll come, because I don't think the developers have done much console stuff before. But it's nothing really that breaks the game or anything like that. It's stuff that's just a bit irritating occasionally. Draw distances and things that flicker that shouldn't. So, of course I can't release myself from PZB when it's a magnet that's fired it. So we'll clear the magnet. So I'm just going to release it. I don't see any yellow, so we should be okay. I really like the water effects, the snow, things like that landing on the windscreen. Those look incredible. Right, let's start braking now. I think I might go and do something on the Great Western after this. Go back to what I know I can do. Shouldn't be taking that long just to lose 20 or 30 kph. Cool. Alright, just about done here. .10 kilometers. in 4 minutes. Highly doubt it, but oh, for God's sake. I knew that one was there as well and I forgot all about it. Ah. Have to find that. Yeah, I ended up just getting mine straight from the PlayStation Store, man, because I didn't know how many physical copies they would do of it. I think a lot of online retailers had it as well. Although you probably paid a lot less for it than I did. Normally I don't like the fact that you pay way more to get them digitally, but make an exception for this. Right, that should be the brakes cleared by now. Let's get this nightmare over with. I really need to learn this line a bit better before I try doing it in really poor visibility, because you need to really be able to see some of the signs and stuff to use PZB. What the fuck? I didn't even reach 45. Right, screw this. PZB's going off. 40 quid, yeah, it was a bit more than that on the store. I'm one of those idiots that'll pay the extra like £5 or £10 to get that one extra paint job as well. For a train that I've driven twice, I think. Right, that's a bit better. I think it's safe to say I'll be getting a fail for this. Right, well, I'm not in that 120. I'm actually getting frustrated by the PZB now, I'll be honest. It went a lot better when I tried it earlier in clear sunny conditions. So you can work the tempo map from these controls here. Where's the other one? There's the on-off switch, there's the power switch. You can use those with the click and drag. All works. But if you happen to have a USB keyboard lying around, it's well worth plugging in. Right, much better now. I don't have to worry about the brakes randomly coming on. Right, let's see if we can stop at this one without going blasting through it. Right, still got SIFA turned on, because that doesn't tend to spring any nasty surprises. The NYC one, like, I've not tried it yet. It's good. It's not a huge amount of variety to it, but it's, in its own way, it's the most challenging one to drive because you're going up hills, down hills, lots of speed limit changes and things like that as you go along the line. And you can make it 10 times harder for yourself by turning on the ATC and the access systems inside the train. Although if you are using them, turn them off in the tunnels because the signals down there are bugged and don't work properly. Well, the one thing I will say about the Northeast Corridor one is you do effectively get almost 2 mini routes with that package, because all the freight stuff that you do, you're doing it on, you do a tiny little bit on the same line, but you spend most of your time actually away from the main passenger lines, and it's almost like having a second little mini bit to the route there. But I have to admit, I've spent the vast majority of my time with this game on the Great Western. I just keep going back to it. Oh, right, lock the doors. I would also have to say as well that the NYC one's probably it's the messiest looking one. I said before, there are a few sort of flaws that I think this game has graphically, and they're all highlighted unfortunately on the NYC route. There's a couple of times where it just really struggles to load stuff in, and another time where the draw distance it's like PlayStation 1 bad almost when you're going across this bridge and the bridge is just kind of unrolling ahead of you. But those are fairly minor complaints overall. It's still fun. It's a lot of fun. It's a few kilometres to the next station, so I'll probably just sling the tempomat on again. I think this is actually coming up for the last or the second last stop. Yeah, it's pretty near the end of the line. Can't remember if there's one more wee station after the one we're going to or not. Markielberg or something, I think it's called. Might be up that way. It's Markeberg or Markleberg, I can't remember which one's up at this end. Yeah, there you can see some of the flashing and smudging going on at the edge of the train there on the camera just now. I don't know how well that's showing up in the stream. But I know they know what's causing that though, so hopefully it'll get addressed as well. Right, I think there might be one stop after this. Yeah, man, it's way overdue that we got some games like this on console, I think. There's 500 million of the machines out now. Somebody's going to want to buy this, surely. Yeah, next one's the last one. I remember the red signal and the speed limit always being at the end. Oh, well, they fixed that at least, because when it first came out it would rain inside the cab as well, inside the coaches. just boot it. It's about, I think it's about 40 kilometres, but the reason it feels so long is because we're stopping and starting all the time. I think it's about the same length as the Great Western Express, which you can do in about 25 minutes. But it does, yeah, it does feel like a really long track this sometimes. The northeast corridor can feel a bit like that as well sometimes, just because there's a lot of slow speed sections in there. Right. Kick the tempo mat in for the last couple of kilometres. Tell you what, this train becomes much simpler to drive once you start using tempo mat, that's for sure. Start slowing, well, we'll come off the power now. Oh man, I'm almost going to be on time as well after all those stops. Admittedly, I couldn't have been this close to the time if I'd left the PZB on, because I know I have gone through a couple of bits that I would have been slowed down for. Okay, so just wait for all the folk to get off. You need about an hour and 10 minutes, I think, to do a run on rapid transit, depending if you're doing one of the ones to Leipzig-Konowitz or one of the ones right the way to the end. But they all stop at a good chunk of the stations on the way up, so there aren't any like really fast ones that I've found anyway. Ah well, we made it to the end on time. Right, no, I'm not waiting for a service that's just going to drive away from me. And cue the advert for the next route we're getting. I'm so excited for that. I cannot wait to get that. Let's do something on the Great Western, I think. Oh, that's a good one. do this one. Nice quick run. Oh, that looks so good. It's old semaphore signals as well, it's going to be ace. If you like that kind of thing, I guess. Just I can vaguely remember how those work from my childhood. This one starts on a red signal anyway, so I think I've got a bit of time to do a cab setup. Right. DSD on, AWS on. Unlock the reverser. Clear the alarm. Rubbish click spots on some of these buttons, so I just want to make sure that's off. Gauge dimmer, turn on a little, so the signal's yellow. I'm going to not bother actually with the HUD at all. I'm just giving it a little minute because I know the next one I think is going to be red. In fact, what we'll do is oh, I forgot to change this. Idiot. Right, that's better. Right, so the signal that's red just now should go green in a wee minute, because it was holding that train there, holding us for that train there, I think. Oh, in fact, it's still red, so we'll just keep slowing down. In fact, I'll keep this on so that see what I'm doing with the controls and stuff. Okay, so it's gone, let's change to caution, let's get going. So you see there, it speed's 125 and it's going to stay there until pretty much London, and I know where the speed limit changes are, so I tend to leave that thing off. Shouldn't take more than about 20-25 minutes, I think, to do this one. just going to coast until I know what the next one is. I think it's that double yellow up ahead. That's what I really love about this game, though, is that you can, if once you learn how to read signals and signposts and stuff, you can actually drive the whole thing without having any of the help screens up on the heads-up display or that. It really is. Used to this in a few days. Yeah, I mean, that's the big secret to this game. It's the only secret to this game is practice, practice, practice. And if you don't have them, well worth downloading the manuals from the game developer's website. Get the PlayStation 4 one because it tells you the buttons, but it's worth getting the one for PC as well because that explains things like signals and safety systems that they for some reason left out of the console manual. And there are millions of videos on YouTube and stuff to help you figure it out as well. But you can run with all the safety systems and stuff turned off as well, so you can make it as easy or as difficult as you want to. That's part of the beauty of it, I think. It took me a month to drive in the Great Western to be able to run it with all the screen furniture turned off. And I still put it on if I'm doing a stop-in service because I still can't remember where all the stations are. The only problem with the way I do it is it doesn't always make for brilliant viewing if you're watching the stream, because I do have to spend most of my time looking out the front window for signals and speed limit signs. I want to see the trains and the scenery and stuff. Look at that, as you get, I loved how the little detail, as you pick up speed you can see each carriage independently rocking about on its bogies and things like that. Lots of little attention to detail in this game. I think we pass a fair few other trains on this service as well. In fact, no, it's not this one, I don't think. A bit early in the morning. 8:27. Actually, no, we might see quite a bit of rush hour traffic. Bit of a soft spot for this train. It was my favourite when I was a kid, and it was also my first ever train set. Not that I'm like a train set guy or anything like that. I mean, I've not had one since I was about 10 or 12 or something like that. But the very first one I got was a 125 because I was obsessed with these things when I was little. Well done to well, definitely a good job by the developer, mate. I agree entirely. Considering how slim their PlayStation back catalogue is, they don't have a lot of experience. I think they've done a bang up job with it, to be honest with you. Really, really enjoying it. So nearly up to full speed, and then we just sort of sit back and watch the world go by unless we get signals or anything like that. Speaking of which, just we'll back it off until I see what the next one is. It's an approach as well. We'll just keep braking just now. This is full brakes as well. 60 is enough for an approach signal, I think. It's still at approach. Alright, so that's a single yellow. And there's nothing to say that we're going off points either, so I'm going to assume the next one's a red. Actually, not as boring as you would think. Again, London Underground has been done before in older train simulators. Quite challenging actually, because you constantly stop, start, and you have to. You've got no room in some of those stations to like hang the arse of the train back off the end of the platform or anything. You know, you have to nail it every time. It was actually quite good. I quite liked it. Right, I need to. Oh fuck! I'm not going to be able to stop in time. Ah! Shit. Oh no, we're good. Right, just need to sit and wait for this thing to clear now. Don't know what we're actually being held for, whether it's oncoming or overtaken. Yeah, no, I'd probably play a London Underground thing. Don't forget, half the London Underground's overground anyway, so it's not like you couldn't do a bit of mixing it up. Should really have turned that on if I was sitting at a signal as well. Oh, there it goes, yellow. Hi Tommy and team. Next station, oh, right, where are we? So we're... Oh god. I think Maidenhead next. Not entirely sure if it's Maidenhead or can't remember its name. Tell you what, we'll coast through, we'll see if we can catch one of the signs. The next signal's caution anyway, so I'm not needing to be going very quickly. Maidenhead. Just waiting for these signals to clear and then we can boot it again. Still got a caution, so we're following something down the line. Maybe been a train moved from the slow to the fast line for a little while. Or something's been stopped at Maidenhead and still accelerating away. The amp meter on this train's busted as well, so if it looks like I'm pulling too much power, don't worry about it. Pretty sure it's an uninterrupted run from here on in. I think so. I can't remember where they all are exactly, man. I can remember the important ones that I use as reference points at the other end going into London. I can usually recognise Slough when I drive through as well. Just because it's got quite a sort of a distinctive look to it, I think. What other ones do I know? I don't know how to pronounce it, but I know Southall or Southall, however it's pronounced, the one next to the big gasworks. I can remember that one. And I know the two Ealings. Right, so we're getting all clears again, so we just get back up to line speed now. Doesn't have to take an age to get up to speed in this. Yeah, Ealing Broadway's the fantastic, somebody who knows this route. Ealing Broadway I find is a really, really useful one to be able to spot, because if I'm driving with all the screen stuff turned off like that, I know that Ealing Broadway is near where I need to start braking for the 100-mile-an-hour limit coming up, because it's not guarded by an AWS, and I have yet to spot the signpost for it, the advanced warning sign for it. All the other speed limit changes going in this direction on the fast lines are they're well enough signposted that you can drive the whole route without the screen furniture. See, there's some more of the attention to detail. When they developed this part of the game, they included the ongoing electrification work of the line. I think I like that. I hope they come back at some point and finish it if as and when the real work's finished. I'm not sure if that's actually been done in real life yet or not. But again, that's just the little details that they've put in here that I think, yeah, that's pretty good. I just saw a signal flick from yellow to green up ahead as we came around the bend, so we're still following something, or either way we'll just keep a wee eye. I've never been on it, mate. If I'm going to London, it will generally be via the East Coast main line, so I know that fairly well. Alright, so signals ahead. I recognise that building as well. I know I've just passed is it Hayes and Harlow, if I see that building there. Quite a lot of stopping on this service. Something else you'll find with this game, it's brilliant, man, is different times of the day there's different amounts of traffic on the line if you're doing the scheduled services. And you can do the same journey at different times of the day and it'll be totally different. And the last time I did this in a high-speed train, I didn't see a single signal other than clear the whole way down the line. And I will admit, I knew in advance that there was going to be a lot of signalling and stuff on this this schedule. I might have played quite a few of them on my my main PlayStation account and noted down a couple of more interesting ones for these videos. The only reason I'm really doing them is because I'm hoping that that people are going to see, oh cool, something different on PlayStation. They buy it and then they find they've got a game that doesn't tell them very much about how it should be played, so I just sit and talk crap while I play it, and you never know, somebody might learn what an AWS does or something like that for watching it, and that's all good. Not sure I actually need to turn that on if I'm out on the line. I think that's just for stations, but it's something to play with. You can never have too many pressable things in a game like this. And it does work as well. If I put the power on with the DRA on, I'll get nothing. I wonder what we're sitting waiting on now. Let's see what time it is. We've made pretty good time anyway, so okay, so that thing behind us is going on to the fast line. Can tell the points have changed actually, because the speed limit notice has popped up the right there, 70 miles an hour, that's for the points up ahead. We are running quite early as well. Come on, signal. Yes. Point signalling and all that sort of stuff works as well if that's something that you know how to read. Right, hopefully no more disruptions till we get to London. Wait until I can see the next signal, because I think it was just a caution that I got, wasn't it? On the full there we go, I can see green up ahead, let's go. Yeah, I really like the winter textures actually, I think they look really good. Even though we all know that in reality this much snow would have the entire network shut down for a week, but hey, it's just a game, right? Looks really good when it's actually snowing as well. I mean, you can see every single snowflake splatting onto the windscreen and piling up until the wipers come across. And again, that's just it's the small detail. Devil's in the detail, as they say. And Dovetail have nailed it, man. This is like I said, I'm not even actually that much of a train person. A lot of what I know sort of now is because I've been reading so much about trains just in the last few weeks since this game came out. It's having sort of, I guess it's been what, 10, 15 years since I had any of these sims, and even then I didn't really get into them the way I seem to have been with this one. I mean, I played them a lot, but I never bothered learning how to do them properly, if you know what I mean. Never really learned how to read signals and stuff. Cameras occasionally decide to do their own funky thing. So there is actually a scenario in the game that has you towing a broken down high-speed train all the way from Reading. You have to couple it up and bring it all the way back down here and then back it into one of those maintenance sheds. It's really good because it's a chance to play around with some of the stuff on the Class 66, like the can't remember what they call it now, the EMS 2000, you know, it's like the cruise control for shunting and things like that you wouldn't normally touch on the main line. Right, this is normally where I think about trying to bleed off some speed for the limit change coming up, but we're more or less down to that speed anyway, so I'm just going to coast for a bit. Speed limit signs just at the second signal after Wheeling Broadway, basically. Or rather the first main signal, that's the sign there we've just passed. The next one will get an AWS plus a... No, I think you only get the AWS on the slow line. The fast line might have a signpost as well, I can't remember. So we pass this signal and then just beyond it there's an AWS for the speed change. Yeah, there's the sign on the left as well. You're always better to be sooner rather than later on the brakes with this thing too. It's really, really difficult to arrive late as well in the 125. So there we go, and the speed limit sign's just before the signal at the merge here. Train race! Let's catch him! Let's not. He can outbrake us anyway, so it would be a silly idea. Tempting though it is. The rush hour in full swing, I think. He can outbrake me into the 40-mile-an-hour zone. So there's the warning signs there, just on the track side. Just got to 40, nice. We win. Sometimes I beat that train, sometimes I don't. There's a couple of services through the day. The services on the timetable, they do replicate throughout the 24 hours, some of them. So you can sometimes do the same run at 2 different times a day and think, hang on, I'm sure I've seen this this pattern of traffic before. I don't want the throttle, I want the brake. See where that other train is. Oh, he's still alongside us. Oh, didn't want to do that. Right, okay, so there isn't a head out option here. Some trains you can stick your head out the window. Couldn't remember if this was one of them. Hoping that other one had pulled in alongside so I could see where I would done against it. And just let the train empty out. And then it's tea time for the driver, I think. I didn't realise what time it was. You need to close the doors to trigger the end of the scenario. slightly different on each route. Some of them it'll finish right there from the passengers load. Other times you need to do that. There we go, that looks much healthier. I will not be waiting to take it back out, I don't think. Right, so I think I'm going to end that there. As I said, I'm actually quite hungry, having now stopped to think about it. So thanks very much for your company. I hope it wasn't too boring, and maybe see you again sometime. Cheers.